What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Redditgoss. On this channel, we read and react to the juiciest stories Reddit has to offer. Today, we'll be discussing stories from the subreddit r/Am I the Asshole. All relevant links will be posted in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, y'all, we are back on the Am I the A-hole subreddit, and today we have an interesting story, so let's just go ahead and see what's up. Am I the asshole for telling my sister that my wife isn't spoiled, her husband just doesn't like her? Throwaway fake names. Okay. I, 34 female, am married to the love of my life, Michelle, 31 female, and have been with her for 13 years, married for 11. My wife is chronically ill, and as soon as it was financially feasible, I suggested she quit her job and stay at home. Since then, I've become quite successful in my career, and I've encouraged her to get out of the house to pursue the hobbies we didn't have money for and that she didn't have time or energy for. We are incredibly happy with the direction our life is going, and Michelle's mental and physical health has never been better. We split the household chores in accordance of how Michelle is feeling. On her good days, she'll usually do just about everything that needs to be done before I'm even home, but on those occasions where her illness is acting up a lot, it falls on me. I honestly do not mind. There isn't a whole lot for us to do on a day-to-day basis besides laundry, dishes, cooking, and tending to the dogs. We have a housekeeper who comes once a week and does most of the major stuff. I enjoy cooking and typically only have maybe an hour's worth of stuff on the days she can't do anything. I also just genuinely like to spoil her. I bring her home gifts and trinkets. I encourage and financially support her hobbies. I take her on 2 weekly dates, vacations. I like seeing her happy. My sister Karen cannot wrap her head around this concept. Her husband Bill works in the same industry as me, making similar money. However, Bill does not treat Karen as I treat Michelle. Bill won't let Karen be a stay-at-home wife. She frequently mentions how he rarely takes her on dates or brings her home flowers or gifts, how he isn't generous with his money, and how it should be their money. Despite this, she has always criticized my wife for being spoiled. Anytime I mention my wife and what she happens to be up to that day, example, in a cooking class, golfing, painting, my sister gets huffy and makes comments about how lucky my wife must consider herself and how surprised she is that my wife stays busy. If I mention ever going to do a single bit of housework, Karen talks about how selfish Michelle is for not doing her part and how cooking breakfast was the least my wife could do. If I tell my mother about the emerald earrings I brought Michelle, the spa day I sent her on, or the new recipe I was making for her tomorrow, Karen would make comments about how our relationship isn't equal and that I'm being taken advantage of. Recently, at a family dinner that neither Bill nor my wife were attending, I casually mentioned to my mom how after dinner I needed to run a load of laundry so I'd have clean pants for work the next day. My wife was having a bad flare and had been pretty much confined to the couch. My sister scoffed and loudly said, "If she wasn't so spoiled, you wouldn't be coming home to a bunch of chores." I responded with, "My wife isn't spoiled. Your husband just doesn't like you," and asked her why she's forced to work if her husband makes as much as me. She was pissed. My parents were irritated, and I was asked to leave the dinner. My sister has sent me texts calling me names, and my mother has reached out saying that was insensitive and asking me to apologize. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. The OP is not the asshole. It's very obvious his wife is jealous, and she's realizing that she married wrong and that her husband, in fact, does not like her. And jealousy does not look good on her. She looks like a real hater. Like, honestly, Karen, if your husband give a fuck about you, he'll be taking you out on dates, buying you those emerald earrings, and being an equal participant in the household, okay? Like, this is what a real relationship looks like. A real partnership looks like. And instead of being a hater, she should be trying to plan her exit and find somebody who actually gives a fuck about her the way her brother loves Michelle. But let's see what the comments are saying. Undeaded Armoire says, not the asshole. It's lovely to see a couple that manages chronic illness so well. She doesn't slack off on her good days, and you accept that she's not slacking off when she has bad. The fact you two just like making each other happy is delightful to see. Your sister is absolutely jealous and wants to prove your marriage is the weird one so she doesn't have to feel bad about hers. Keep being Gomez to your Morticia. Good man. Malort Hot Dogs says, right? I'm sort of in the same situation as OP's wife. Only we're definitely financially strained while I apply for SSDI and or try to find work that is at least semi-sustainable. I also think there might be a level of sexism involved in this from OP's sister. I do get people being kind of weird about it when they find out how much my husband takes care of me / helps me manage my conditions. Women in particular will kind of fawn about what a great husband I must have if he's going out of his way to help me with some things. He is definitely a great husband, but he's not going out of his way to help me. He just loves me and doesn't like seeing me struggle or hurt. I return the favor as much as I can, as often as I can. I know that, statistically, men are much more likely to leave their wife if she gets seriously ill than women are to leave a sick husband. But wanting your chronically ill wife to be as comfortable, cared for, and happy as possible, and doing whatever you can within your means shouldn't be an anomaly. Exactly. It should not be seen as strange or out of character or as the husband being taken for a ride. And the fact that society has it in their mind that if a wife is not breaking her back and killing herself in the household to provide for a husband and possible children, that she is somehow getting over, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm really glad that there are still men out here who are taking care of their wives and just taking pride and joy in spoiling them and seeing them at their most happy. Big Cost 511 says, it's irritating how much women fawn over my husband for being a full-on partner as a husband and father, like he's some kind of special unicorn. Don't get me wrong, he's the best. But instead of looking at their own partners and realizing that those men aren't pulling their weight, most women I know look at my husband and kind of give me the side eye while gushing about how incredible and unique he is. And I'm like, demand more from your men, ladies. They are grown men who supposedly love you. They can do it. Exactly. Women need to stand up, okay? Stand up in your marriages, ladies. If your husband is not pulling his weight, you either need to sit down and have a conversation with him and ask him why he's not pulling his weight. Let him know your needs and see how he moves from there. If he continues not to meet your needs, then you need to be prepared to pack up your shit and go. Because there is no reason for you to be miserable and trapped in a marriage that's not fulfilling you and then trying to muddle everybody else's time because they're actually getting the love they deserve. Okay? Scary Cat Lady says, one small suggestion. Your family really doesn't need to know about every little thing. It comes off as bragging, and not everyone has the blessings that you and your wife share. Keep being awesome. Lenore Evermore says, I bet OP's wife would rather have her health than have such bad days that she can't even do chores. OP's sister is bragging about her health if she talks about work at all. OP's sister is bragging about her health, trying to demonize OP's wife for not doing chores, and so on. Talking about your life isn't bragging, unless the person listening is jealous. Clock that. Kaleidoscope View says, right? To have such a bad flare-up that you're confined to a couch for potentially hours at a time, that sounds miserable. Lenore Evermore responds and says, exactly. It sounds like torture. I'm luckily physically quite healthy. But this spring, I had a few weeks where my back was acting up so badly, I spent my birthday just laying on the floor, and even that was awful. I can't imagine the misery of living with a chronic illness and dealing with the flare-ups. I'm quite sure she would rather do all the chores in the world than be so sick. Exactly. Marcuse0 says, I mean, one thing that gives me pause about this is that OP says his sister's husband works in the same industry and makes the same amount of money. If he doesn't want to give his wife the same consideration, that's really his choice. And OP shouldn't feel bad for sharing things that are happening in his life. If brother-in-law was significantly poorer than OP, I would agree with if there's similar levels of income and different approaches. That's not on OP to hide his generosity to spare the feelings of people who can but choose not to. Absolutely. She needs to realize that if her husband wanted to, he would. He does not take care of her in that way because he doesn't want to. He doesn't care for her in that way. He doesn't feel like she deserves to be taken care of in that way. All right, y'all, that's all we have for today. Let me know what you think about this situation in the comments below. And I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subbing and hitting the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload. See you next time. Bye.